It's Friday, March 18th, 2022. Welcome to the Day Weather Podcast, brought to you by Cowboy State Daily, Wyoming's news authority. Visit them at cowboystatedaily.com and on their Facebook page. Well, folks, there's a lot to talk about weather-wise, but at least initially, we've got spring-like weather coming in before the storm system heads our way. The storm system that's going to be moving on in will be impacting us mainly late Sunday into Monday for most of you, but a couple of great days to maybe go out and get some spring skiing in, especially tomorrow. So warming up and spring-like through Saturday. We're going to see rain, snow, and thunder developing in the Pacific Northwest, the western areas of the divide by Saturday night late into the day on Sunday. Then that moves east Sunday night into Monday. I wish I could tell you the confidence was high on what's going to happen with this storm, but it remains very low even as we get closer here, and we'll show you why. This storm is not going to reach the levels of last year's storm. This week was the anniversary of that giant snowstorm that hit a year ago. This storm is just not going to be able to put itself together like that one did. We will post an update Sunday morning, and we'll do a video update Sunday morning as we get the new data in and get closer to the situation. But there's still a lot to sort out because literally there could be some areas, if one model is right, can get a lot of moisture, but if that model's not right and another one is, you might not get barely anything. It's that type of situation. Today's satellite photo shows the swirl of cold, moist air up here with the low up here in the Gulf of Alaska. This will be the weather maker coming in for Sunday night into Monday, but elsewhere, not much going on other than some mid and high level clouds across the central and western United States. So here it is. The low up into the Gulf of Alaska, the westerly mild flow now moving in as yesterday's storm system heads towards the Great Lakes and the Midwest. Going forward, this is by noon Saturday. So the trough begins to form along the west coast and the Pacific Northwest, but here's a nice ridge of high pressure right on top of the region. So that's why Saturday is going to be a really spring-like day. Hit the ski slopes. Now, as we get into Sunday afternoon, I drew this black line here to show you how the low digging in all the way into the desert Southwest is getting stretched. And what will happen here is there's going to be two areas of low pressure with it getting stretched like this. But along this axis right here, there's going to be rain, snow, and thunder during the day Sunday into Sunday afternoon and evening right along this axis. So as this axis sweeps through, in this circle I drew, there's going to be areas of precipitation developing, especially from Utah and areas points north. But the low and the trough is getting stretched, and this is complicating things out a bit. This is what it looks like through Sunday afternoon. So there's going to be from the Pacific Northwest through this area here, developing rain, snow, and thunder starting Saturday night and into Sunday morning into the northern and central Rockies, starting earlier in the Pacific Northwest. And that's really forming right along that axis there. As we go into Sunday afternoon, this is the prediction of lightning. So there's going to be some thunderstorm activity with some of the moisture coming on in. So if you're seeing these blue areas, if you're near those, you might get a little bit of thunder. Now, as we get into Monday morning, the secondary low gets better organized over Arizona and New Mexico. This low up here is getting stretched, but you see this axis right here? So by Monday morning, this axis of precipitation will continue to push eastward before this low becomes more dominant during the day Monday and the Tuesday. So the stretching of the low into two centers is going to kind of mitigate the ability for this storm to really get its act together. Now, by Monday afternoon, the storm gets really organized over the Texas Panhandle and separates from this guy here. Once the separation happens, this is when the upslope could kick into gear. But the separation is going to happen at a point in time, and this low could be moving far enough east that it could really kind of put the kibosh on this becoming a really big storm system like last year's. And I think that's why it just won't reach those levels. As the storm gets better organized, this is by Monday afternoon. You see the separation here. What will likely happen is in this area right here, as Gulf of Mexico moisture is drawn in and colder air aloft collides with that moisture coming in, you're going to see an area of thunderstorm activity develop, especially right here in East Texas, in this region here. What ends up happening with these spring storms, if you get this outbreak of thunderstorms, that robs the available moisture to get wrapped back into the Front Range of Colorado and Wyoming and western Nebraska. So what ends up happening is there's less water available because these thunderstorms here are kind of like the IRS. They take a big chunk. It doesn't take all the moisture, but it takes a big chunk. So due to the fact that this storm is going to get stretched out and separated into two pieces, and by this time this storm gets better organized and the upslope starts to kick in, these thunderstorms, I think, will be a problem. And here it is. This is the forecast of lightning by Monday afternoon. So you can see the very extensive area right here is going to rob some of that Gulf of Mexico moisture. With the big storm that happened last year, we really didn't see that happen. So the moisture was available to come back in, deep moisture. Now that's not to say this storm won't be impactful. It will be. Now I'm going to take you through the different models and show you why our confidence is so low. The American model is bringing back a goodly amount of moisture in this area right here, wrapping that moisture back on in. Areas of rain and snow really getting going late Sunday night, Monday into Monday night, and into early Tuesday. This precipitation right here is mainly coming in Sunday night into Monday morning along and west of the divide. But you can see the system is still going to produce a decent amount of snow in the mountains and some moisture on the plains as the first stretching low comes on in. The better organized low right here is this precipitation. So you should really view this as this is the first developing area of precipitation with the trough. This is the second one, and the second one will be the more dominant. This is what the snowfall forecast looks like based on this. And you can see it could be pretty impressive in some areas here along this axis if that moisture wraps back in. That's the American model. The Canadian model is actually really similar. The U.S. and the Canadian model have a lot of similarities. And if this type of moisture falls in Kansas and Nebraska and eastern Colorado, that'll be a bonanza for those winter wheat areas. However, look at the European model. The European model does not develop that upslope. It takes a lot of that thunderstorm moisture and keeps it east. So look at this area here, almost nothing, while the U.S. and the Canadian models have quite a bit. So if the European model ends up right, the second wave of moisture develops further south and east. This first area moisture, number one, is still going to happen. So confidence level with number one is very, very high as the storm comes in and gets stretched apart. Confidence level in part number two here is very, very low. That's why we'll post an update Sunday morning, because both solutions, the solution of it being further south is completely valid. These solutions are valid as well, although I will tell you, experience suggests that a lot of times the European model gets these storms better than the Canadian, and the European model sometimes is superior. Not always. So we, again, are swimming in a lot of question marks, and you can see the European model is nowhere close with the snowfall as compared to the U.S. and the Canadian models. As we go forward, going into next weekend, by late next weekend into early next week, basically a week apart from this current storm, will be the next major low coming through the Rockies and high plains in the West Coast again. So we'll have this storm system late Sunday through Monday, early Tuesday. We'll have a break in the weather. Then probably Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of the following week, we'll be dealing with another storm system coming through that, again, is a similar to this one that we'll need to keep an eye on. Stay tuned for our update Sunday morning. In the meantime, have a great weekend ahead.